Welcome to the Soviet Union. 2 decades ago, we defeated the Romanovs at a great cost. Over the ashes of the Russian Empire, we built an industrial powerhouse, respected by many. But unfortunately, the Soviet Union diverted from its path, stolen by Stalin and his minions. But there are still those who call Stalin an usurper, and I am one of them. Stalin's purges were cruel, but was Stalin's paranoia correct? Was there really a conspiracy to overthrow him? In real life, I don't know, but here, yes. Dmitry, prepare the tanks. The Soviet Union is under attack. By whom? By me! In 1936, the path of Marxism-Leninism was finally established in the Soviet Union, the first communist nation in the world. However, she was kidnapped by Stalin, a tyrant, an usurper. We will have to remove him from power, with our own hands if needed. Stalin has many enemies, amongst them the left opposition. It is clear that the Soviet Union has lost its way, talking about socialism in one country, abandoning the workers of the world. If Stalin does not act, we will.
But Stalin had little need for heroes.
Stalin knew something was wrong and announced his concern about factionalism within the party. Political paranoia has set in. An atmosphere of suspicion and mistrust hangs over the Soviet Union. No one is safe from the NKVD. Meanwhile, we had to determine our headquarters, the place from which we will work to overthrow the usurper. There are suggestions for isolated locations such as Urals, the steppes, and even the Arctic coast. And there are good arguments for all of these locations, but they didn't have the population and infrastructure to start a revolt. Setting up a base is easy, using it is the real challenge. Therefore, the choice fell on Odessa, Ukraine, a more developed region with large cities and good ports. With Ukraine's industrial resources, we will have a solid base. And so, it was decided that the fall of Stalin would begin in Ukraine. For a tree to grow, it needs to create roots. The rebellion will only work out if we have a solid support from the party members and important officials, people with resources to supply the cause, like a tree that needs fertilizer. Our headquarters are ready. Now we can work. My first goal is to convert Kiev to our cause. The city has many factories and a large population. The rebellion will be much stronger with it. So the infiltration work began. And this happened in April, with a sleeper cell inside the city that will take control when the time comes. Now we need to secure the outskirts, focusing on the west of the Dnieper. In May, we had the first victim of the purges, Nikolai Vatutin, accused of treason and collaboration with Stalin. This is not true, he is not one of us, but the NKVD has no need for the truth. However, this helped us. Our commanders will support the opposition after this. With the support of the party assured, we went to reinstate the Smirnov bloc, a group of former political figures who hated Stalin since Lenin's death. Their help will be essential for building the political strength of the rebellion. But acts like this attracts attention. We have to play a delicate game between consolidating power and appeasing Stalin's paranoia. To do this, we need to divert attention to the army. Stalin believes that the army does not like him, so we will feed that. He will punish the army, not us, and in the process will attract even more support for us. And as expected, the army was severely punished, reducing its capabilities but attracting even more support for the rebellion. More than 40% of the army is on our side. With the NKVD wrath elsewhere, let's turn our attention to Mikhail Tukhachevsky. In real life, he was actually killed in the purges, so here he can have his revenge. This time, the NKVD's fury has been unleashed on the Navy. It's the time for Admiral Gordet Levchenko to go. And guess what? Another one. Alexander Yegorov, accused of betrayal. Maybe he was betrayed. By sacrificing a few generals, we'll have more support from the army. That's what Trotsky would do. With Tukhachevsky's support secured, we have a large portion of the Red Army on our side. Now we are going to infiltrate the NKVD itself, the guys who do Stalin's dirty work. But even among them, there are those who disagree with the usurper. With the NKVD infiltrated and a large chunk of the army taken and half of Ukraine compromised, we have a very comfortable position. We can start the revolt now if we want. But I won't. We have some loose ends to tie, such as Nikolai Bukharin and the right opposition. This guy worked with Stalin for years, only to be betrayed later. There are people proposing a coalition of the left and the right opposition against Stalin, but we didn't need them until now, and we won't need them in the coming fight. With our double agents in the NKVD, we make sure that Bukharin is thrown to the wolves. We do not allow competition. And not even the NKVD itself is safe. Yagoda, the chief of the agency, has been accused of treason and conspiracy, yet another victim of Stalin's paranoia. With Bukharin in the NKVD sights, we have room to strengthen ourselves even further for the fight to come. We got General Primakov to the cause. His experience with cavalry will also be vital for the rebellion. In the meantime, we learned of the first Moscow trial. 16 men have been sent to trial and convicted. This was Stalin's doing, not us. He is closing in. Time is running out. We have expanded our infiltration to NKVD once again. That, and with Primakov's loyalty secured, we have 54% of the army on our side. The time is finally coming. From now on, the countdown has begun. Let's make the final preparations for the fight. We consolidated half of the Red Army and half of Ukraine to our side. Everything that could be done has been done. The only thing left to do is to ignite the flames. Let us raise the banners against the tyrants. Let the revolution begin now. Finally, on September 22, 1937, the time has come to once again take up arms for the revolution. Just as we defeated the White Army, we must also defeat the usurper. Who should lead this new revolution? Trotsky, of course. He was always Stalin's main adversary. Now, excuse me, I have to reorganize this army.
One eternity later.
Alright, Marshal Tukhachevsky will lead all of our forces, and General Primakov will lead the cavalry corps. A nice surprise is that Zhukov joins us. He will take command of all the armored divisions who come to our side. I gave Zhukov and Primakov the important mission of marching north to conquer Minsk and Smolensk, two very important cities that have industry and population. The key to victory will be the control of the main cities. Our three priority targets are Leningrad, Moscow, and Stalingrad. Take them and Stalin will fall. Our first focus is the vanguard of the true revolution, a call to the workers of the world to fight once again, this time against the usurper. This is how the Soviet Civil War began. All of our forces advanced in all directions. 3 days after the outbreak of hostilities, several partisan groups joined the uprising in many regions of the Soviet Union. Unfortunately, they were too far away to join us, so our order was to stay and fight, except for these two groups near Krasnodar. We asked them to run to Crimea. The uprising caught the Red Army completely by surprise. In just a few days, we conquered Kherson, Zaporizhia, and invaded Crimea. Sevastopol fell without a fight. On October 13, Minsk fell. The capital of Belarus is ours. Belgorod fell next, and the road to Kursk is open. Surprisingly, the partisans entered Stalingrad. Of course the enemy will take it, but this shows how fragile is the Red Army. To make things easy, we launched a major sabotage campaign in the enemy territory. Construction, production, ports and railways were all targets. In November, the Red Army has mobilized and overcome the initial shock. Now we will fight for every city. They set up a stronghold in Krasnodar, which will be destroyed sooner or later. The capture of several cities has led to enemy desertions. An entire armored division has changed sides. We will make a good use of this. The demand for equipment is enormous. Stalin still controls the largest factories of the country, but that gap will be getting smaller day by day, and we have conquered all the coastal provinces of the Black Sea. In the north, we finally conquered the city of Stalingrad. It was difficult, and there are still enemy forces around it, but the city is ours. On December 10th, we entered Armenia and captured another ammunition depot. Soon, the entire Caucasus will be ours, and the international brigades has finally arrived. Enough volunteers to form 5 brigades, which will certainly help the war effort. The success in enlisting the Red Army in the preparation phase was so great that Stalin did not have enough troops to garrison the whole front. Entire sections were open, just waiting to be taken. The year of 1938 arrived, and our success is unquestionable. This is the proof of the importance of planning and preparation. You don't always have to rush things. Every military operation needs strategy, preparation and organization to be successful. Then, still in January, the 11th Cavalry Division, under the command of Major Anastasy Kivaratskelia, broke 2 enemy lines in the Moscow region and headed straight to the capital. Apparently the staff car was in panic. With disastrous reports coming from all sides, they didn't set up a defense perimeter in Moscow. The city was in flames with partisan activity, until finally at midnight of January 18, 1938, the Kremlin was taken and the Soviet government collapsed. The war was finally over. We don't know where Stalin is. The coward that he is, he must have fled. But at least his reign of terror has finally come to an end. Finally, victory. The war against Stalin is over. The usurper has been defeated. It is time to reignite the flame of revolution for the whole world. Let's continue what we started. Our first action must be the process of de-Stalinization. He renamed this area to Stalingrad. What an ugly name. She needs a new and better name. Which name is Trotskygrad, of course. Brother, in the end, Trotsky, Stalin, Lenin, these guys were a bunch of dictators, monsters, who killed millions of people. I only made this video because it was easy. This video is only for entertainment purposes. What to do next? No one knows. Perhaps Trotsky would help the Chinese against Japan. Perhaps he would start World War II. But that is a story for another day. Thank you very much.